It's time to talk about Hcmc. Today we're seeing Hcmc remain in the level of 0.0007, trading between the 0.0007 range up to the 8 range, so really not too much movement in price, a little bit downwards if not neutral when it comes back up to 8, so really we're seeing the same barcoding that we have been seeing for a while now, but we do have a few important and actually quite good updates to provide tonight. I hope you'll enjoy. If you do, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is free to do, but do remember I am not a financial advisor, and subsequently this is not financial advice, but yes, do subscribe, it would be appreciated. So ultimately, price-wise, we are not seeing too much action for Hcmc today. It really hasn't moved too much, and we are seeing that same barcoding, which is completely fine. The past 5 days is pretty neutral as well, and even the past month now is mixed, but quite neutral, if not slightly in the green, which is fine. But that is not what we are here to talk about specifically. We are here to talk about a few other things which people have been mentioning a little bit, and just remind you guys of where Hcmc is in the world right now, because I think a lot of people do forget. So we're going to start off over here by looking at Hcmc and the short interest that we have been seeing, and the actual, volume and things like that when we look to this stock. So first things first, when we go down a bit further, we will clearly see when this page does update, we will see the information that we have had for the past few days, and specifically yesterday, we had something pretty good to report on. Ultimately, when we come up to here, we can see the short volume and long volume, which is obviously highlighted in red and green. It's easy for everybody to understand. This date down here is the 25th, which was obviously yesterday, and we can see the amount of long volume that we had then was about 3.5 billion. Now that is really good. It shows a lot of liquidity and a lot of shares being traded, which is fantastic in the first place. If we can get that to continue at these levels, I would be very happy. It shows that our stock is becoming more and more liquid, which is good in the first place, and it is just overall a very good sign when we look at this company. I think it does show that the stock is moving in the right direction when it comes to how it is traded and things like that when we look to investors. So that is good news alone. When we scroll down a bit further, we will see more information, because we do actually have lowering amounts of short volume over the past day compared to what we have seen most recently. If you look even over the past 3 days, in fact, you will see that the short volume percentage has actually been going down, and the date, which was yesterday, was the lowest that we have had for about 10 or so days. You can see it was at 22.23% yesterday, and the lowest that we have had anywhere near to that would, in my opinion, be down here at 26.88%. So clearly less short shares were sold, which is good in my personal opinion. The short volume was lower, I should say, and it definitely has been going down most recently, which is good. Now ultimately, I don't think it matters too much anyway. I think this company has that potential. I think if it does do well, it will do well regardless, but it is a good sign, and I think it is something which does make us feel a bit more confident. Now ultimately, we are seeing the Hcmc community remain very strong. We still have about 88,000 should I say, followers on StockTwits, which is good, and message volume is decent, as you may expect, which for a company like this, which doesn't really have too much going on at the moment, and I know that the lawsuit is obviously going on, but I mean, day to day there isn't really too much going on. To see that it still has that many followers and people are not losing interest, I think it is good. Now, 2 days ago, we had this stock being on the losers list, the top losers list of Trading 212, a platform which many of us do use. Now, immediately, this seems like a bad sign, but is it? I do not think it necessarily is. First things first, a lot of people do actually look onto this. I think this definitely does influence people. Sometimes when they see a company being down, they think it may be a good buy. Or ultimately, when they see this company being here, whether it's on top winners, top losses, or anything else, it shows that yes, there is a lot of interest. I think it will get more and more eyes on Hcmc, and definitely will provide, new opinions and new thoughts. People thinking, what is this company and is it worth a buy? So ultimately, people have been seeing this and thinking it's a bad thing. I do not necessarily think it is. Now, we are probably going to see this in the future, potentially, if the price does drop a little bit lower. But ultimately, when we see things like this, it being on top losers lists, I am not too concerned. I just continue to carry on with Hcmc. I don't think it matters too much in the grand scheme, because, long term, which is what this company is to me, as a long term hold, the day to day doesn't really matter in my opinion. But I just thought it was something interesting to update you guys on. Now, another thing which we have been hearing a lot about from Reddit is the 9th of the 16th, or 16th of the 9th if you're from the UK. Basically, it's talking about the 16th of the 9th, and if this is a good thing or the usual rubbish. Now, ultimately, from what I can tell, in the days leading up to that, and obviously the days going on to that, that is around the time that the judge will be making his next move in the case. People are talking about this in the comments, as you can see down here. Some people think it's a usual usual rubbish. Some people think it is a big deal. Ultimately, I do not think it matters too much once more. This is not going to be the end of the lawsuit in my personal opinion. I think it will continue for quite a while, so it's just another date in my opinion, but it is definitely possible that going forwards into that time frame, we could have a lot of people speculating on HCMC, whether it be bullish and bearish. This could definitely drive some more volume in my opinion. I think ultimately most retail investors at least will be quite bullish on HCMC in the short to mid term, and even the long term. I think subsequently we could see a bit of an increase in price for HCMC. Now, first things first, I think this is very important. When we talk about dates, especially regarding stocks like HCMC, it doesn't really mean anything ultimately. It could mean something, it could be a big deal, but obviously I do not want to set a specific date because we have seen this in the past where people have pumped HCMC stock on days where I thought it was not necessarily, worth it. If we look at HCMC as a company, fundamentally, it will shine for itself in the long term. We have a strong community of investors behind this stock, and actually we do have a strong community of institutional investors around this stock as well. You guys will remember from our last video that we did a couple of weeks ago, not the very last one, but one that we did a while before that, we had about 12 institutional investors. Now, we do have a bit of information down here. This time it is coming from Nasdaq.com because for some reason Fintel does not want to work on my tablet today. But yeah, we do have a lot of institutional investors, and this, in my opinion, does speak for itself. Now, when we think about a company like HCMC, the share price is worth a fraction of a penny. This is not necessarily a bad thing, but this is an OTC stock, it's a speculative play, and it's not really the sort of thing which institutions do pick up very often. A company like this usually has little to no institutional investors, and the institutional investors that we do have, fair enough, most of them have a very, very small share, and most of them probably have less shares than you do. But ultimately, the fact they have any shares, in my opinion, does show very strong convictions. I think they do anticipate good things happening for this company, otherwise they would not go long on this business if they couldn't see good things happening both mid to long term. I think mid-term, in the next 1 to 2 years, we do have the potential benefit of the lawsuit, and I think that is going to be fantastic if we do win. Now, that is a real speculative section in my opinion, but I think on top of that we have the fundamental business of HCMC. People sometimes get a catalyst for a penny stock, say it's going to the moon, and that is not necessarily the case. Well, HCMC is a company, it has products, we have broken down the earnings reports on this channel before, and you guys will know I think it is a solid company for a penny stock company. There is still moves to be made, it definitely could be improved fundamentally, but we are going in the right direction. I think for that reason as well, HCMC could be seen as a growth stock in the mid to long term as well. So what I'm trying to say in this video, guys, is yes, we do still have a lot of shares being traded, yes, we do still have a lot of interest in this company, and those two things combined is a very good sign in my opinion. We have some dates coming up which people may see as important or not. Again, tell me if you think it is important or not down in the comments. I do want to hear your opinions on it. I will not be paying too much attention to it. As I said, I think HCMC is more of a mid to long term play. What happens today, tomorrow, next day isn't really too important to me, but if there is any new news, I will give you guys an update on it. Thank you for watching, guys. I will see you soon. Goodbye. Thank you for watching through till the end, but let me tell you about our Discord. So on your screen you will be seeing the N2S Finance Discord. Obviously it is split into multiple sections. Basically at the top we have updates from me and all that kind of good stuff. If you scroll down a bit further we have the main sections where we focus on cryptos, SPACs and other hot stocks including penny stocks, even stable growth stocks as well, and we even have a special AMC GME chat. If you scroll down you can see some research and DD from the community. We also have funny memes and you can see actual contributions from members down here. And again, if you do join us, it is completely free, link is down below. But if you do want to become a Patreon, you will actually get a pink sticker which will be displayed on your name. So your name will come up in pink as mine comes up in red down here, and that will show that you are a Patreon. But other than that, guys, you can join completely for free down below. You do not have to pay anything if you do not want to. Thank you for watching, see you soon.